My dearly beloved, it is with great pleasure that I am before you in the inaugural session of the Young Couples Fellowship of our parish. We are really blessed to have a wonderful beginning with Reverend Father Philip Kuruvilla's session. We are kick-starting our Young Couples Fellowship. Well begun is half done. So, first of all, I would like to felicitate and wish that the Young Couples Fellowship could do wonderful things for our parish, for the betterment of our members and the well-being of the community around us. We are living in a society which greatly thinks and believe in a disposable culture. Use and throw away is the culture of this age. In whatsoever manner we engage in today's society, we do use and throw away. Unfortunately, our marital status also has become disposable to a certain extent. I was really proud to see that my members are all safe. But you know, even we have families with problems. Most of the problems are seemingly silly. And for those silly reasons, we are ready to quit and part. So unfortunate. In February 2014, our Baba Tirumeni made a statement that His Holiness received 66 divorce petitions in 30 days of Malankara Nasrani life, not in a Western society. So it is in the light of such a hazardous, challenging situation that Young Couples Fellowship and movements of the like can make a change. നമ്മൾ എല്ലാവരും വിചാരിക്കും നമ്മൾ വളരെ സേഫാണെന്നുള്ളത്. പക്ഷേ കുടുംബ ബന്ധങ്ങൾ വളരെ പെട്ടെന്ന് ശിഥിലമായിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന നിസ്സാരമായ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളുടെ പേരിൽ തകരാൻ ഒരുങ്ങി നിൽക്കുന്ന യാതൊരു മടിയും കൂടാതെ നമുക്ക്. ഞാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞ ദിവസം ഇപ്പം നാട്ടിൽ പോയപ്പോൾ ഒരു വീട്ടിൽ പോയപ്പം ഒരു പെങ്കൊച്ച വളരെ ധൈര്യത്തോടെ പറയാണ്, ഐ എം സെപ്പറേറ്റഡ്. വിതൗട്ട് എനി ഹെസിറ്റേഷൻസ് ഷീ ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസസ് ഹെർസെൽഫ് ആസ് സെപ്പറേറ്റഡ്. നമുക്ക് ഒരു കാലത്ത് ടവർ നമ്മുടെ വീട്ടിൽ പ്രശ്നമാണെങ്കിൽ പുറത്ത് പറയാൻ മടിയായിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പം പാരൻസിന് പ്രശ്നമൊന്നുമില്ല, മോള് സെപ്പറേറ്റഡ് ആണെന്നോ ഡിവോഴ്സ്ഡ് ആണെന്നോ പറയാം. ആ തലത്തിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ വളർന്നിരിക്കുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഈ കാലഘട്ടത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രശ്നം. We have to regain the sanctity of marriage. We are brought together by God until one of us passes away to the other side. അതുവരെയാണ് ഈ ബന്ധം നിലനിൽക്കേണ്ടത്. രണ്ടിൽ ഒരാൾ കടന്നു പോകുന്നത് വരെ പവിത്രമായി നിലനിൽക്കേണ്ട ഒരു ബന്ധമാണ് കുടുംബബന്ധം. ആ ബന്ധത്തിന് ശൈഥില്യം നേരിടുന്നു എന്ന് കാണുമ്പോൾ അത് അടുത്ത തലമുറയെ ഏത് തരത്തിൽ ബാധിക്കുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒരു വിഷയം തന്നെയാണ്. ഈ കാര്യങ്ങളിൽ നമ്മുടെ ഇടവകയുടെ യങ് കപ്പിൾസ് ഫെലോഷിപ്പിന് ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യാനുണ്ട്. ആ തരത്തിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ തക്കവണ്ണം ഇടയാകട്ടെ. ഇന്നത്തെ സെഷൻ നമുക്ക് എന്തുകൊണ്ടും അനുഗ്രഹീതമാണ്. അച്ഛൻ അതിൻ്റെ സ്പാർക്ക് നമ്മുടെ ഉള്ളിലിടും എന്ന കാര്യത്തിന് യാതൊരു സംശയമില്ല. എൻ്റെ കർത്തവ്യത്തിലേക്ക് ഞാൻ കടക്കുകയാണ്. സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് എൻ്റെ കർത്തവ്യം. നിങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരുടെയും പേരും ഏറ്റവും ആദരണീയനായ, ഞാൻ കൂടുതലായി ഇനി അച്ഛനെ പരിചയപ്പെടുത്തുന്നില്ല, അച്ഛനെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും മനസ്സിലായി കഴിഞ്ഞതാണ്, ബഹുമാന്യനായ ഫിലിപ്പ് കുരുവിള അച്ഛനെ നമ്മുടെ യങ് കപ്പിൾസ് ഫെലോഷിപ്പിന്റെ ഇനോഗ്രൽ സെഷനിലേക്ക് വിനയത്തോടെ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. ദൈവനാമത്തിൽ നിങ്ങൾ ഓരോരുത്തരെയും ഈ സെഷനിലേക്കും നമ്മളുടെ യങ് കപ്പിൾസ് ഫെലോഷിപ്പിലേക്കും ഹാർദമായി സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് എൻ്റെ വാക്കുകളെ ചുരുക്കുന്നു. ഈ സമയത്ത് നമ്മുടെ ഇടവകയുടെ യങ് കപ്പിൾസ് ഫെലോഷിപ്പ് ഔദ്യോഗികമായി ഇനോഗ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുവാനായി ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട ഫിലിപ്പ് കുരുവിള അച്ഛനെ സ്നേഹത്തോടെ ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു.
I asked Achin, today we are inaugurating this session. I just want to share two things with you which, being far from home, we may not know. Our church headquarters there is a ministry of human empowerment. It's a small department started within our Catholic palace. And this ministry of human empowerment is being looked after by an Achin called Father P.A. Philip, who is originally from Bethany, Ramli Pernad, and was in Delhi Diocese for many years. Now he is based in Kottayam. He has married K.M. Alexander Achin's daughter, and I understand one of his sisters-in-law is in Melbourne.
Yes.
Okay. Biju and Sally is there? Yeah, okay, hi. So, Sally, you and I met in Bethany many years ago when we visited there. You are the engineer? Or your sister is? Okay. So, Philip Achin has been handling this, and the following are some of the programs they have brought out. In 2009, they started something called the Project on Family Welfare. In 2010, they had the Anti-Addiction Campaign. In 2011, it was called Christian Parenting. And in 2012, Geriatric and Palliative Care. 2013 was Women's Safety and Empowerment. And in 2014, Strengthening Marital Relationships. I have in my hand a Kalpana of Baba Dharmini, in which, written just a week or two before Easter, that is in April this year, where Baba Dharmini wrote that, things are happening in our families. Therefore, in these circumstances, we hereby declare 2014 as the year of sanctification of marital relations. And on top of that, we're saying that the Ministry of Human Empowerment will spearhead this project, which introduces a roadmap to Christian conjugal bond under the title They Are One. That is the theme of our talk today. They are one. Malayalam, Avare Onnagunnu. This awareness campaign should effectively be implemented in all parishes on 16th November 2014 is to be observed as Couples Day. So you still have time to prepare for that. That is Baba Dharmini. So I just want to tell you, this has got a special sanctification from the church. We usually say the church doesn't touch our lives. And here is something the church has been doing for a while, but it hasn't reached us. We are so far away. It doesn't reach us often inside India as well. But by God's grace, this has come here, and Achin has decided to conduct this small program as an inauguration of your couples coming together. So Achin, with that, my talk.
Thank you. So could you please formally inaugurate?
I hereby inaugurate this young couples fellowship and pray to God that He continues to guide and be with all couples, especially the younger couples, all the days of their life.
Thank you so much, Achin. We are moving on with the first session ever organized by the Young Couples Fellowship of our parish. I cordially invite once again Reverend Father Philip Kuruvilla to lead us through this session.
Okay, now, നിങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരും പള്ളി വരുമ്പോൾ ഭാര്യയും ഭർത്താവും പിള്ളേരും ഒരുമിച്ച് കൂടി വരും. കഥയിൽ അവിടെ വരുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ രണ്ട് സൈഡ് ഇല്ലേ? So here is the church that brought you together, separating you every Sunday. Well, I have some news for you. Today, we are going to reunite those broken families. All men whose initials are between A and M. Can you raise your hand? A and M. Will you stand up, please? A and M. Can you all come to the front here? Can you all come to the front here? This way. Come this way. A to M. And now, ladies, if your husbands are not in this group, I repeat, if your husbands are not in this group, please stand up. Those whose husbands are not in this group, please stand up. Yeah. Please get up and go that side and join your husbands. Please go and join your wives. I want every husband sitting next to their wife. People have noticed. Please sit next to your husbands. Husband and wife sit down next to each other. Please sit right here. Now, my next request to you, please. I am assuming that you are sitting next to your own husband. Now, to make sure, can you please look at each other? I'm going to look at you. Any mistakes? So, I am assuming that you are all placed positioned correctly and that you are sitting next to your spouse. The same one I hope that you got married to a long time ago. If you can't sit, you must come. We need more chairs, but you can't sit there because everything is going on PowerPoint. And kids, I love you, but this is not your session. So you're wrong. But look, can you get us some chairs? Please, get us some chairs. If you cannot see this, you will not be happy. Can you? ചിലരെ എന്നോട് പറയുന്നു എന്റെ ഭാര്യ സൺഡേ സ്കൂളിലാണ്. എനിക്കറിയില്ല, അവരിവിടെ കൊണ്ട് ചുറ്റി നടപ്പുണ്ട്. ഭാര്യ സൺഡേ സ്കൂളിലാണെന്ന് പറയുന്നു. അച്ഛൻ അത് നോക്കിയോണ്ട് കേട്ടോ. This is the topic we have. അവരൊന്നാകുന്നു St. Matthew's Gospel chapter 19. And as you see, 2014 is the Orthodox Church's year of sanctification of marital relations. So the church is concerned about your marriage. The church which got you married a long time ago is still concerned that how are you doing? And today I'm hoping that we'll have a session that will help you to reflect upon your own marriage. So more than it is not a sermon, it is a holding up a mirror and hoping that you will be able to touch upon that. I'm hoping that you will also be able to look at your relationship with your children. So there's two areas here. One is your relationship with your spouse and the other is your relationship with your children. Now, before we go forward, can we try to locate the oldest couple here and the youngest couple here? So, who's been married in the last 1 year? Anybody? Alright, we have one couple here. Anybody else? Vinu, I know, but unfortunately Christina is not well. Anybody else? So can you tell us when you got married? This year. Wow. Please give them a hand. Your sweetness, your naivety, please sit down. Okay, 1 year to 5 years. In the last 1 year to 5 years, who has got married? Last 1 year to 5 years. So we have some young couples here married in the last 5 years. Anyone here? Yes, one in the corner. Thank you. 5 years to 10 years. The major bulk I think belongs here. I want you out, please. Sorry. I want you out. I'll come to you another time. When you get married, you'll come back. You are also in that group? Okay. Then 5 to 10 years? Okay. Can I just one more? What am I supposed to understand? Okay. 10 to 15 years. Slightly senior. Very good. Alright, thank you. 15 to 20? 15 to 20? 15 to 20. Okay, thank you. Thank you. What about 20 to 25? One couple? Any more? Two couples? Are you 20 to 25? 20. Just into that. When you are 24. Anybody above 25? 25 to 30. Excellent. We have two couples. One couple, and where's your wife, sir? Sunday school, some marriages will be in trouble here. Okay, so you are one couple. Who else is 20 to 25? Anybody else? Okay, 25 to 30? You are in that bracket as well. 25 to 30?
25 to 30 years. 30.
30, okay. 30 to 35? Okay. 30 to 35. So, please stand up 32. Since you are the last of the couples, his wife is not yet here. Will you please stand up? He is the senior most without his wife. And here are the Please stand up. Please stand up. Please give them a hand. Senior most couple. Please stand up. Now, we see there are young couples, 1 year married, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 35 years. So among you, there are people who have had arranged marriages, there are people who did this in college, all exist in this room, right? The question is, we all had an idea of marriage before marriage. Before we got married, we all had some kind of a concept. This is what marriage would be like. And we all had our own visions and our own dreams. But the books we read, in the old days it was Mills and Boone. The movies we see, where the hero rides up on a white horse, puts the girl on the horse behind him and rides off into the sunset. These things are not so simple. Now we all agree, Kalyanam is not that simple. Do you remember your marriage day? Yes, I remember. You remember the directions given to you during the service? If you don't remember your own, because usually, this is the truth, things are moving at such a pace, we really don't remember. Because it moves at a terrific pace. But certain advices and directions were given to you, if you remember. And that's why when you attend somebody else's wedding, keep your ears open. Don't go blah 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 blah, which is what most of us do in the service. Listen. Reorient yourself. Make your vows again. Does anyone remember the Bible readings? Does anyone remember? What is the Bible reading? What is the Gospel reading? St. Matthew? What was it about?
It was about becoming one.
Becoming one? Yeah, about coming one. About that portion. And the other part, the Bible, biblical readings. The biblical, Sunday school, when your kids come in, can you just tell them to play outside? I know that you love your kids and the kids are here. It'd be nice if they play outside. They love to play outside anyhow. The Bible readings are important. I'd like you to go back and see those. It hasn't changed. The readings of your time are still the readings today. Especially St. Paul's letter. How he directs the church as the bride of Christ. It's a wonderful analogy. The church as the bride of Christ. Coming before in an unblemished form. And how Christ died for his bride, the church. That is the relationship meant to be between you. When you see and hear that, it's really so touching. But who remember this? Now my question is, whatever word you used when you got married, there was an affection, there was an affinity, there was a bonding between you and your husband or your wife. Is it still there? Is it still as strong? It's difficult to say yes. अच्छा अदोक्के पंडा है नहीं, अदोक्के आसम में तक करेंगे. इप्पम बुड्ढा बुड्ढी क्या एक साथ बैठ के क्या करेंगे? The point is, there was a bond, and I want you to know that that bond is not something that effervescence, that special inspiration that you gave to each other was not meant for the first 3 years of your marriage. In one sense, yes, but in many other senses, you are supposed to have grown and developed, where still, whatever your age, whatever the number of years you've been married, you are supposed to have something, a glow that touches you. If that's not happening, I want you to know it can happen. So that's why I'm saying to you, relook at your marriage. Today Achan mentioned statistics. Why do so many marriages today end? They were just like yours. Got together in happiness, families came together, there was joy and there was a wonderful feast and the whole clan got together. What happened along the line? Many of us know what happened because we are going through those issues right now. Be very clear. It is not a place or an institution where you're in and it's just the way it is. You need to work at your marriage every day of your life. Children, I love you, but your games outside, please. How would you rate your marriage today? I know parenda. If you had good, okay or bad, how would you, don't tell me, I don't want to hear. How would you rate your marriage? Because as I'll say to you again before the session is over, rating your marriage occasionally, rating your marriage or looking at your marriage occasionally is good for you. And so the question that you need to ask yourself is, can I improve my family life and can I improve my home to make it what is called a godly home? Does God have any space in my home? Or am I so busy with my day-to-day life, the rat race, trying to make my money that I am unable to think about anything that Achin you are talking about? That was for our marriage, okay, for 2 years into the honeymoon. Now I've got my head down, I'm just busy surviving. And that means even my marriage is only surviving. There's no beauty, there's no effervescence. There, what you said actually doesn't exist in my marriage. And I'm saying to you, remake it. It can be done. Don't sit on a marriage because like anything else, if it's not moving, it's not just statistic, you are going back. If it's not moving, you're going to go back. Don't let that happen to you. I want you to know the well-being of each one is important to the well-being of all. In other words, in your family, if there's parents, parents-in-law, most of you who are here so far away from your family are not touched. Most of you are not touched by your parents. But at home, yes. And so, when there's in-laws, there's children, there's you and your husband or wife, each one's well-being is important. And the children that you have are God's gift. And you know, because I must introduce myself. I am married. I searched in 6 continents for my wife for 41 years. I got married at the age of 42 and I found my wife. I'm from Kottayam. My parents are from Kottayam. I'm born and brought up in Calcutta. She's from Kottayam, I'm from Kottayam. Dono nakli. She's born and brought up in Kuwait, I'm born and brought up in Calcutta. But at the age of 41, I met her, she was 34. And when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, she came back to India. And that's how we met and we got married. And we met in an ashram of our church, where men and women can be. I don't know how many of you know there's an ashram near Coimbatore called Tadagam Ashram. It's meant for married people. And it's in that ashram that I met her. So I searched for my wife for 41 years, 6 continents. And I finally found her. But that doesn't mean I don't get angry with her or she doesn't think that she doesn't feel like tearing her hair out by some of my reactions. The same with you. And what I want to say is, I understand what you're saying. I'm not giving you just a theory. I know that most of us will sacrifice anything for the future of our children. And I know that many of us are having difficulties how we behave to the rest of the family and to my in-laws. And how many of us have seen that wall plaque that says, Christ is the head of this house, the unseen guest at every meal, the silent listener to every conversation. You heard that? Yeah, you can buy it. You can put it up on your wall. How many of us can really say, Christ is the head of this house? Because what I want you to take back with you is, your home is not just the home of Jacob or John or Shivu or Minu or whatever is your name. Your home must be a godly home. That includes your spouse and your children. If your in-laws are there or your family is there, all this constitutes your home. So now let's look at parenting. I'm now looking at you with your children. Let's be very clear. I've heard many people say, "En magan." Sorry, not yours. Given to you or not? Your children are God's gift to you, given to you on loan. That means you have them for a time and then you give them back. So relook at your attitude to your children. You cannot boss them, trouble them, hassle them, or make them do what you want to do unless you think it's good for them. And even then, you must do it with respect. I think most of you, the elder among you at least, how your relationship was with your parents. There was always a gap. Your parents were there, you were here. Now those who are young parents, you know that if you give that attitude to your children, you can say goodbye to them. So you have to be like a brother or a sister or a friend to your child. That's the way it is today. And if you're not, and because when you were young, you remember your grandfather lying down in an armchair and how his wife would bring tea once a day to his room. And if you expect that from your wife today and that attitude from your children, you're looking for trouble. But it's in our DNA. It's our hope. These children belong to God, and the Lord will teach you how to raise your children. But you need to have some unlearning processes before you can learn again. Because all of us have come in with some preconceived notions, perhaps because of the way we were brought up, that this is the way I'm going to bring up my kids. And not all of it is good. Not good. All of it is healthy. And not all of it is good for your children. So I say to you, you might have to unlearn some things. I'm asking you about your children. Can they trust you? Simple thing. A small child tells his father, "Appa, buy me a ball." And the father says yes. He goes to work, comes back, what ball he's got, comes home, son says, "Where's my ball, Dad?" "Oh, money, I forgot. I'll bring it to you tomorrow. Another wife has come." Can some husband claim her, please? Please, where's your husband? We are all waiting one by one. Come. So, that child says, "Papa, did you bring the ball?" Second day. Father, because that's not his priority. By the third day, the son may ask again. But that son is getting a very clear message. I'm giving an example. This father says something and does something else. So I'm asking you, can your children, can you say that they trust you? Now your children, whatever age they are, and especially from young age, you must give them a space where they can tell you anything. I'm giving an example. Little Johnny, your son, 9-year-old Johnny comes home from school and says, "Papa, you know today, that boy Tom brought cigarettes." Already my BP is going up. And then, Papa, we took it to the back of behind the school and Johnny brought out some matches and we lit them. By that time, everybody in the house going ballistic. Someone's heading for the phone to call Johnny, Tom's parents. Someone has got into the car to go to the school and say, "What nasty children you have got." This child has got one message from this. So I'm saying to you, can they tell you things Is there space for them to tell you things without you getting into a shock and awe treatment? You need to see your responses and reactions. You cannot raise your children or teach your children while you are fighting or hurting each other. I'm still on the matter of children, but I am talking about interpersonal relations. If you're fighting each other or hurting each other, it doesn't have to be physical. There is mental torture, mental agony, harassment. And if you're doing it, your children are getting that message. You cannot raise your kids if that's what you're doing to each other. Having said that, how do you show your children that you care for them? By giving them a good education? Yes. By giving them lots of money? I don't think so. Rich parents or poor parents, I won't use the word poor, rich parents or medium parents, get this clear. Without love and unity in your family, you will produce rich kids or poor kids, but they will be unhappy kids. So what they need more than the money, what they want more than the education give them, is an environment where they are at peace. And they see their mom and dad gelling with one another. Try to understand what I'm saying. If it's not happening, you have to make it happen. That's why I said to you, regardless of how many years you've been married and how cold your marriage has become, you need to reignite it. And that's our hope. Where's your husband? Little closer, please. The children that you bring up by giving them lots of money will become adults who mess up their lives and later on will mess up their kids. The greatest gift that you can give to your children is to start following the Lord yourself. To be a godly home, it must be evident through all the days. It's not just that when you sit for a prayer, or the rest of the day there's chaos and pandemonium at home. No, it's an entitlement. And those children will get a head start in life. Not the education you give them, not the money you give them, but the values that they get and the intimacy they get from your family. I am very clear, Christian nurture, the role of parents is much more than finding a good school. I know many parents where the husband and wife are also working, and for them to find a good school, oh goodness, thank God, I got my kid into, especially in India, you got your kid into this school, now you can relax. The kid is in good hands, good shape. No, not anymore. Not even the best schools. Not even those who pay their teachers a great sum of money. And as you know, now in India there's a lot of private education. Very expensive schools where from the school bus onwards there's air conditioning. You go to the classrooms, it's AC. You come home. That kind of environment is not enough to find teachers who will teach your children what they really need to know and what only you as parents can give them. So now coming among the father and the mother, the importance of mother, even working mothers, I want to share with you women, because I am a youth facilitator and I deal with a lot of young people. Boys and girls come to me and say, it was my mother who got me directed right. However proud the father will be or say that I am the father who did this, this and this, it's the mother who touches that child much more. So whether you're a working mother or you're a homemaker, be clear. You touch that child's life more than your husband. You need to know that. Who shares the responsibility? Whose idea? Who has to really nurture the kid? I know many families where it's kind of understood, where the male says or feels or thinks or acts that this is the woman's child. I'm sorry, I disagree. You cannot say that bringing up the children is woman's job. Maybe it worked in those days. Now, especially with this day and age and the challenges they face, they need the father as well as the mother to tell them about stories, instances, responses to challenges. So you cannot say that it's only the mother's responsibility. I know many fathers who say, I spend quality time with my children. Another quality time, Ravale, school conference, 5 minutes, രാത്രി ആ കൊച്ചു കിടക്കുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് ബെഡ് ടൈം സ്റ്റോറി വായിക്കാനായിട്ട് അപ്പനോട് കയറി. That is the quality time the father spends with the children. How do you expect that child to grow up in a mature and equally balanced fashion? I know that your work takes you, but look, for young couples I am saying to you, and for those who are growing, all that after a certain time, nothing counts for us anymore. We really don't want anything. Everything we do is for the kids. So what's the use of saying, I paid for his education, I did so much. The kid doesn't want that. The kid wants you. Now I know this as a fact. In India, many families live separately in order to avail a higher income. The question is it worth the separation? It's a question that I want you to answer, to talk to each other. Because even here in New Zealand, there will be a time when you are asked, because of this job, go away there for X number. Now sometimes it has to be done. For a short period of time, I endorse it. But as far as possible, understand that no amount of money will make up for the absence of one parent. I know that many of us have had to separate. And in India, you know how many parents are working in the Gulf. Single parents. But there I'll say to you, a father comes back from the Gulf. All his life he was there. He comes home once a year. And then when he comes back, finally, the child is 22, 23 years old. The father is retired. He comes and says, I've given you my life. And the son or the daughter says, Dad, I didn't need your money. When I was growing up, where were you? The same myth would be to the mother. I know this is a tough decision. All I'm saying is, no amount of money is worth the child not having its parents together. So as far as possible, pray about it. It's not a single decision that one of you should take. You should take it together. But for the children's sake, and for your own family's sake, I'll give you one understanding. Say it's the wife who's gone away, or the husband who's gone away. The rest of the family manages to go ahead with their life. They do their life, and they go through with it. Whether it's going to school, going to tuition, going for skating classes, they do their life. And then the outside person comes back and says, I want to be in this group. It doesn't work. Because they've built up without you. And now you've come back for a month and you want it to be like you've been here all the time. You weren't here all the time. Then the father or the mother gets upset, jealous, angry. So these are all issues that you need to take into consideration. The next question I want to ask you about your children, and especially small children, those who are below 5, 6, 7. Have you talked to them about human sexuality, incest and pedophilia as they grow up? Because schools don't talk about it. To a group like this, I spoke in Goa. And after the program was over, one of our couples came to me and said, Achit, you're absolutely right. Our child, 5 years old, used to be taken by auto rickshaw to school. Once or twice we found the kid coming home late. So my husband followed the auto rickshaw and found that the auto rickshaw man with 3 or 4 children. In India they take share, 4 or 5 children share. Either it was on the way to school, on the way, the auto rickshaw goes off to a side road. And there that auto rickshaw driver was sexually molesting the children. Now, nobody talks about incest, but it's very evident. And you need to know that so many young children have come to me and said, I have been molested in my childhood. Many of you have been touched in your childhood. And that scars people. I recommend to you a book I read. It's called Bitter Chocolate. Bitter Chocolate is written by a woman called Pinky Virani. She must be about 35, 40 now. But she's written the book, and I read it 15 years ago. It's still available. This girl talks about, she says, I live in a high-rise apartment in Mumbai, and from my window I can see that apartment where the man who sexually molested me throughout my childhood still lives. He was uncle that time. And she has documented evidence. If you've seen Monsoon Wedding movie, there was a touch of incest there. Child molestation, pedophilia, it's there. So the one thing that you're asked to do with your even small children, this is a very difficult thing to, in Kerala or in India, if you're sitting in the park and a small child passes, We grab the child, we play with it and say how sweet it is. Your cops will be there in 3 minutes because they are terrified. This is the other end of the spectrum. But I want you to know that what that book taught me was your little children also know the difference between good touch and bad touch. Even a 5-year-old child knows what is good touch and bad touch. So if a child comes and starts talking to you about, not feeling comfortable about someone touching him or her, listen to that child. If your daughter is 10, 11, 13 years old and is talking about your brother or your tuition teacher or somebody you trust, giving her hassles, listen to her, listen to him. Because this is happening. Pedophilia, child sexual abuse, all around us. Talk to your children. As they grow, remember schools won't do it. They've got it on their curriculum, they try to get out of it as soon as possible. Still. So talk to your children as they keep growing about sex, sexuality, and about these things. In your home, is there any time that the whole family gets together and shares? It could be dinner time, it could be prayer time, but there should be a time when everybody, the whole day is over, or the day is about to begin, it depends on you. Usually mornings are a hassle because everybody's got different directions to go, usually. But if your home can make it morning, fine. The point is where everybody can come and speak, and the kids also can say, you know what happened in school today? Or you ask, how did you enjoy this? What about that? What did your friends say? And you bring out as a father or a mother your stories. That's the time for sharing. And I tell you, when your children are grown up and they are gone away from their home, those will be the moments they remember, the shared times. So find a time for family sharing. Your children will grow. One more wife has arrived. Anybody whose husband's wives are still not here?
Yeah, I can pray.
There you go. Pray, please. Please connect the husband to the wife. See, your children are going to grow up, and I'm using the word growing wings and flying. How many have children less than 12 years of age? Please raise your hand. Children who are less than 12 years. Okay. So we got the majority. I have good news for you. And this is not psychology, but it's a generalization. Many children, as they grow, they're listening to you. And I'm giving you an approximation, age somewhere between 12, 13, 14, 15, they stop listening to you. They're still living with you. They may live with you till you are 30, 35. They're doing everything you ask and say. But after this 12, 13, 14, 15, they don't seem to listen. In fact, they experiment and make mistakes. They seem to have forgotten everything that you taught them. But the good news is they will come back. So I'm saying to you, this age approximately 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you have for them to really, you can mold them. Not so much by what you say, but your lifestyle, because they are watching you. And after that's over, they'll still live with you. But then they'll say to you, like I'm telling you, I got a 21-year-old girl and a 20-year-old boy. And if I say, I start my kahani, I've got a long speech lined up, Mane, and he said, Appa, Madi. I haven't even started. They know the story even before Appa, Madi. This is a difficult part. So you need to do this while they're still listening to you. You need to. But don't worry if they grow wings and start flying. Because whatever you have taught them till then is there, it's embedded. You may think, my God, you'll ask your wife or your husband, they will experiment, but they will come back. So don't fear. Don't feel bad. I like you to act now if you want to teach them anything. Leave the rest to God. Teenage children, college-going kids. Who's got teenage children? College-going kids? Just raise your hands, please. Okay, thank you. Now your children are going into that group. What are we going to say about this group? You have to show interest in them. You cannot leave them and go about your work and hope they look after each other. I remember maybe 20 years ago, you go to a house, I go to a house, and the parents will say to me, Acha, എൻ്റെ പിള്ളേർ ഇപ്പം 21 വയസ്സായി, ഭയങ്കര ശല്യമായിരുന്നു. അപ്പം ഞാൻ അവർക്കൊരു കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ മേടിച്ചു കൊടുത്തു. അവർ മേളിൽ മുറിയിലേക്ക് കൊണ്ട് ഒരു ശബ്ദവുമില്ല. മണ്ട നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അറിയാമോ അവരെല്ലാം അവിടെ ചെയ്യുന്നത്? അവരെന്നാ ചെയ്യുന്ന? That's when the father begins to think that, that's not just. Please, you must show interest. What TV programs are they watching? What books are they reading? What internet games are they playing? What chat sites are they visiting? Many of you don't know, chat sites is like a cyber room. That means from your room and 20 rooms from all over the world, people enter into one cyber room through the net. And in that room are supposedly friends. So, one is called Karen, age 17, one will be Tom, age 15. They all seem to be the same age and friends. But in these chat sites and chat rooms are predators. They may be a 45-year-old man and he's